Very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of Om College of Education, I extend a very warm welcome to all the participants on the second day national level webinar on research effect of pandemic on employment and dream education in current global scenario for teachers. Today's topic, impact of COVID-19 on employment conditions in India, by an eminent resource person, Dr.P.Anbalagan, Associate Professor in the Department of Economics, Presidency College, Chennai. On this behalf, I would like to thank our founder and chairman, Sriperumbudur sir, Om Shanti Group of Institutions, Sriperumbudur, Kancheepuram, for having established a SAM to render this 3-day webinar for the enrichment of knowledge for all the faculties around the world. Now, may I request the principal, Dr. V.H. Safikala of Om College of Education to render the welcome address. Over to Sasikala, ma'am.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Happy morning to all those who have joined with us to our second day national webinar session. I'm extremely happy to welcome our founder and chairman, Mr. P.M.V. Durai, Om Shanti Groups of Institution. I would like to extend my hearty welcome to Mr. D.M.V. Santosh, Secretary, Om Shanti Groups of Institution. I'm extremely privileged to take this opportunity to welcome our honorable resource person, Dr. P.Anbalagan, Associate Professor, Department of Economics, Presidency College, Chennai. I am very glad to welcome Dr. D. Kumar, Principal, Om Shanti College of Education. I feel happy to welcome all our staff members, coordinators, and technical staffs. I would like to extend my special hearty welcome to all the participants, those who have gathered here for our second day national level webinar. Once again, I welcome you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm welcome. Now, may I request our chairman, through PM Vidurai sir, to render the felicitation to the participants and the guests.
எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். ஓம் காலேஜ் ஆஃப் எஜுகேஷன் சார்பாக உரையாற்ற வந்துள்ள நம்ம சிறப்பு விருந்தினர் அவர்களையும் மற்றும் பங்கேற்பாளர் அனைவரையும் வருக வருக என வரவேற்று என்னுடைய வணக்கத்தை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the word of felicitation. Now, may I request the principal, Dr. V.H. Sasikala, to introduce the chief guest of today's function about his profile. Over to Sasikala, ma'am.
Am I audible, ma'am? Warm welcome to you, sir. It is a pleasure to share educational profile to all our participants, those who have gathered here for our today's webinar. Sir has 23 years of experience in UG and 17 years in PG. He has 18 years of research experience. Details regarding his publications: author published in the journal 39, books published with 3, a chapter in edited book 18, speech published in newspaper 1, article published in newspaper 7, editor of journal, reviewer of books 4, conference 51, seminar 21, symposium 6, workshop 6, webinar 35, chair in the seminar and conference 33. His research guiding experience: Ph.D. research scholar, doing under his guidance 4, Ph.D. awarded 5, M.Phil completed 10. He has completed many project works and also conducted many webinars. Many active roles like given more than 25 special lectures, acting as member in the board of studies for various colleges and universities. His position in academic bodies is serving as joint director, joint secretary cum director in South Wing, Indian Economic Association. Is serving as an executive member, the Association for Transport Development in India since 2007. He is acting as assistant director, Directorate of Economics and Statistics, Government of Tamil Nadu, 1997-98. He has received many awards like IEA Best Paper Award in the year 2019, Award for Best Teacher in Economics in the year 2015-2016, Award for Best Teacher in the year 2010. His membership details as follows: life member in Indian Economic Association 5, life member in the Association for Transport Development in India. Now, let us enter into today's webinar topic. In our current situation, we have started to use a term webinar instead of seminar. Webinar instead of seminar, online classes instead of classrooms, online classes instead of classrooms. Yes, all these drastic changes have occurred in our current educational practices only after the arrival of COVID-19 pandemic. It has totally affected and changed our routine lifestyle, and we all became physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and also economically very sick. I would like to share with you a few lines in Tamil with regard to impact of COVID-19 in our present situation. Shall I? Yes. காற்று மாசற்று சுத்தமாக இருக்கிறது, ஆனால் முகக்கவசம் அணிவது கட்டாயம். காற்று மாசற்று சுத்தமாக இருக்கிறது, ஆனால் முகக்கவசம் அணிவது கட்டாயம். சாலைகள் வெறிச்சோடி உள்ளன, ஆனால் நீண்ட தூரம் பயணம் போக முடியாது. சாலைகள் வெறிச்சோடி உள்ளன, ஆனால் நீண்ட தூரம் பயணம் போக முடியாது. மக்களின் கைகள் கழுவி கழுவி சுத்தமாக உள்ளன, ஆனால் ஒருவருக்கொருவர் கை குலுக்க முடியாது. மக்களின் கழுவி கழுவி சுத்தமாக உள்ளன, ஆனால் ஒருவருக்கொருவர் கை கொழுக்க கூடாது. நண்பர்களுக்கு நிறைய நேரம் இருக்கிறது, ஆனால் ஒன்று சேர முடியாது. நண்பர்களுக்கு நிறைய நேரம் இருக்கிறது, ஆனால் ஒன்று சேர முடியாது. ஞாயிறுகள் எதிர்பார்க்க வைத்தன, திங்கட்கிழமைகள் சுமையாக இருந்தன, ஆனால் இப்பொழுது நாட்கள் நகர மறுக்கின்றன. ஞாயிறுகள் எதிர்பார்க்க வைத்தன, திங்கட்கிழமைகள் சுமையாக இருந்தன, ஆனால் இப்பொழுது நாட்கள் நகர மறுக்கின்றன. பணம் வைத்திருப்பவர் அதை செலவழிக்க வழியில்லாமல் இருக்கிறார். பணம் வைத்திருப்பவர் அதை செலவழிக்க வழியில்லாமல் இருக்கிறார். பணம் இல்லாதவரோ அதை சம்பாதிக்க வழியில்லாமல் இருக்கிறார். பணம் இல்லாதவரோ அதை சம்பாதிக்க வழியில்லாமல் இருக்கிறார். நேரமோ இப்பொழுது ஏராளமாக உள்ளது, ஆனால் கனவுகளை மெய்ப்பிக்க வழியில்லை. நேரமோ இப்பொழுது ஏராளமாக உள்ளது, ஆனால் கனவுகளை மெய்ப்பிக்க வழியில்லை. சுவையாக சமைக்க தெரியும், ஆனால் யாரையும் விருந்துக்கு அழைக்க முடியாது. சுவையாக சமைக்க தெரியும், ஆனால் யாரையும் விருந்துக்கு அழைக்க முடியாது. குற்றவாளி நம்மை சுற்றி இருக்கிறான், ஆனால் கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல். குற்றவாளி நம்மை சுற்றி இருக்கிறான், ஆனால் கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல். கடைசியாக ஒன்று, நம்முடன் வாழ்ந்து இம்மண்ணை விட்டு மறைபவரை வழி அனுப்ப முடியவில்லை. நம்முடன் வாழ்ந்து இம்மண்ணை விட்டு மறைபவரை வழி அனுப்ப முடியவில்லை. இதுவே நம்முடைய தற்போதைய கொரோனாவின் வருகை. இதுவே நம்முடைய தற்போதைய பரிதாப நிலை கொரோனாவின் வருகைக்கு பின். Yes, now it is time to have our person to deliver his current data regarding impact of COVID-19 on employment conditions in India. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Next, I welcome Dr.Doreen ma'am to welcome our chief guest, our resource person.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the bilingual speech of introducing and welcoming. And as it predicts, we have got the best eminent personality today to share his knowledge on the topic impact of COVID-19 on employment conditions in India. Like, employment condition is being very challenging, and it is the need of our participants during the session. Whenever you have got a question, kindly put on the question in the chat box. Your questions will be answered after the end of the speech. Okay, at the end of the speech, the feedback link will be shared to you. By the end of the day, you will be getting your e-certificates in your respective emails. All right, over to Dr.P.Anbalagan, sir.
Okay, madam, visible?
Yes, sir.
Madam, PPT is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can proceed, sir.
Yes. Thank you. In traditional way, அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். The most respected chairman through Doreen, Om Shakti Group of Institution, the Secretary, the Principal and the Convener, Dr. Sasikala Madam, Dr. Doreen Robin and Bobby Madam, and other faculty members in various departments, friends, good morning to one and all in the present webinar platform. Thank you. At the outset, I would like to register my sincere gratitude to the organizer for providing me a great opportunity to deliver my lecture. The topic of today's webinar lecture is the impact of COVID-19 on employment conditions in India. The presentation of the today lecture is divided into three parts, namely that one is the employment related aspects like labor force participation, work force participation, and the distribution of workers and so on. The second part is the impact of COVID-19 on employment activities, and third part related to the Tamil Nadu economy, and finally suggestions and conclusions are there. You know that COVID-19 pandemic is dangerous for across the world. About 13 lakhs people are recorded cases of COVID-19, but the active cases is 4.4 lakhs active cases, and 30,000 are fatality. So actually, this is very low. How I am saying this is very low? The fatality rate compared to rest of the world, some of the states, that means of some of the country, record of 10 and 15 like that. But in India, 2.41%, and the recovery is also very quite high, which is 63.18 as per today record. So here that the COVID-19, if you see that of some of the states are very high, including Tamil Nadu. The first one is Maharashtra, followed by Tamil Nadu, and today is Andhra Pradesh is occupying the second place. Today cases, yesterday cases was recorded. So this has to, if you see that the total 10 states, it accounts about the 56% of the total cases recorded. Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra alone, it constitutes about 50% of the total cases in all India level. So government took serious measures in order to control this pandemic in various ways that affects the lives and the livelihood of a common people. Their measures are lockdown, travel restriction, and social distancing, and so on. As a result of this, the non-essential items which was seriously affected, only they allowed, the government is allowing for the essential item. That non-essential item affected about 65% of the total thing. So, but the present problem for the country, not only the pandemic, the previous that is a pre-pandemic also the problem, because a lot of economic problem was raised there, the pre-pandemic also. Now the pandemic is added, and in addition to that, one more thing is added for India is a China border problem. So there are three major challenges for in front of government of India, not only that whole country. So this has to be disrupted the economic activities of country in names of unemployment or jobless growth, even the demonetization and the GST, and these are all the things, some of the mixed things which has been disrupted the economy at a greater extent. At least I think that 40 crore people out of 130 crore people, 40 crore people seriously affected due to this pandemic. As a result, what happened that the economic activities were triggered, that is supply and demand side is affected. What are the economic? The one side is the labor. You know that whatever the commodity is produced, that land, labor, capital, and organization, these are the four factors is required, in which that the labor is the most affected due to the pandemic. See that the first one, the chart is clearly reveals about labor supply shock. There are inability to work from home. They should go and work in some spots or some other work spots. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get the salary. So a technical person or computer handled persons only, they can stay with their home and they can work. But remaining, the majority of the people is very difficult to go there because of the supply chain is cut. On the other hand, the supply shock and the mortality, these are all some of the threats to the government. So these things in the left-hand side. If you see that right-hand side, the people are spend more on health care rather than the other. So this is the major challenges at present. And as a result, the consumption demand has come down because there is no income, there is no employment, that the consumption demand has come down. As a result, the manufacturers stop their production and the investment has come down. That is uncertain. And this has to huge loss in the wage or income losses for the laborers. So based on that, the economy is circulated like this. I give the circle one. So the demand is less. When the demand is less, the supply automatically they will cut down. When the producer supply cut, the investment is cut down. And after that, where there is no supply, there is no investment, the unemployment increasing at a drastic level, which has an immediate impact on the low investment, low income as a result of the demand. So this is a circle is formed in the economy. So this is a very dangerous thing. This can be come out with the help of the government policy measures. So the government took, there are several policy measures so far. So in which that the labor is the major thing. So we are going to discuss about the labor alone. See here, this is the labor force participation rate, because the economic, that you know that one is employment and another one is unemployment. So this employed person plus unemployed person divided the population, which is known as the labor force participation rate. So this may be probably 15 plus year or total. So the labor force participation, how many of the people, or for example, if you take that 100 crore people, how many really they are ready to work? That is the labor force participation, ready to work or working. So this thing is that. If you see this table over the period of time, 1993 to this one. So here that male is almost constant. It is about of the 55% of the total male are in the rural area, whereas the female in the rural area, which has come down. See, particularly in the 2009-10 onwards, the rate of decline is 6.5%. If you consider a 1993 to 94 to latest one, so it has drastically come down about of to a 13 percentage point. So the female participation in the rural area has come down. There are various reasons for that one, I will tell. And then in the case of the urban, it is almost both are constant. So the female participation in the rural area, which has drastically come down, but male is almost the same. But the people who are in the rural, they can migrate to the urban. That's why the male are more advantage, and their participation in the urban area, which has drastically increased as per this table. Next one is, this is a young age. See that there is a one term is very familiar. That is known as the working age group, or otherwise this is called demographic dividend. The working age group means 15 years to 59 years. This is very strengthened for the Indian economy, because across the world, if you see that up to 25 years of the age group, or in India, that is 40% of the people are up to age group of 25 is available in India in the world level. So this is the main, because this is the working age group. This working age group is the main thing, because they may be able to, productivity will be very high. If the young generation is there, that they will be produce more. For example, this diagram is very clear, that one. There is a wide gap between the young age group and all the in the 2004-5, but it has drastically come down in the year 2018-19, because there is education has improved at a dramatic level. So the people are getting a higher education. For example, if they are all completed their BE or ME, they are all waiting for the better job. That's why that this labor force participation of the young age group has come down, which is almost equal to the all age group. They are all watching, or they are all waiting for the good work. Male and female both are. So that is explained. So therefore that is almost equal in the last column. Sorry. Next is this is the labor force participations across the country. This yellow color is explained about the below all India level. See, the most of the eastern part of India, that is northeastern part of India, and the northern part of India, that age group of the below all India level, that is the yellow color is the below all India level, that is 50.2% below that one. But if you take in southern part or the central part or western part, the labor force participation is higher, particularly the Andhra Pradesh and the Himachal Pradesh, that recorded about more than 60% of the labor force participation. That means of this, many of them come forward to work or working. So that is very high in this state. Except in Kerala, that is a labor force participation is lesser than the other all India level. Next one is this is a work participation rate. What is the meaning of work participation rate? That is actually how many persons are working in that one, divided by the population, which is known as the working population. Actually, how many is the workers are in that? That is a working population. So here that work participation rate, see that almost same in the case of the male, but in the case of the female, that is rural and urban. If you see that in 2004, 9, 10, sorry, 4, 5 to 2018-19, it is almost declining about 10 percentage points. Why I am stressed this one? Because global financial crisis, which was in the year 2008. So due to that, the females, most of the females are left their job, because these females are largely engaged in the agricultural sector as well as the some of the export oriented, like ready-made garments and leather industries and so on. As a result of 2008, many countries are suffered due to global financial crisis. They reduces their import. As a result, these females are lost their job. That has mentioned that in the economic term, missing laborers. So the females are largely missed that one. If you take in the last column, the low employment was generated. Now see that employment in 35 percentage. So the employment generations also come. The next slides will explain about how this employment which was generated. What happened? These females, they left their job from there, and what they do, the most of them are motivating to enroll in the higher education. So you see that of a gross enrollment rate of higher education of the female has increased after 2009-10 particularly. And moreover, most of the family, that breadwinner, that is male, earn more. As a result, the female is not come forward to work some other job. That's enough. We will take the family care. So therefore, there are majority of them instead to go for the work in order to take over the family, because most of the families are today is a nuclear family. So that is the another important causes for the female labor force has come down. So this is the educational wise how this the work participation is rate is there. See higher level of college education, that is of graduates and above, postgraduate and diploma holders, about 50 to 60% of them are high in the work participation rate. That's why that column is very high. But you see that the secondary and the higher secondary, it is a work participation is very less, because it is a transmission period, whether they decide to go for the work or go for higher education. So therefore, that is a very low. And whereas the illiterate, it is constant. It is confined that they are not ready to go for other thing. Therefore, that is also high. Upper primary and middle, these are all the moderate thing. Whereas the higher level of work participation is witnessed in the graduate and above level. See, the one of the state in India, that is of a Chhattisgarh, it is highest percentage of illiterate work participation, about the 66%. If you take Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Himachal Pradesh, these are all the states, the graduates and postgraduates are very high, and the work participation also, it is obviously very high. So what are the works normally? If you take in the rural area, they're all mostly engaged in the agricultural and non-agricultural works. And today, if you see that contribution of the non-agricultural sector to the household income is about 40%. So it is slowly occupying the rural area, that is non-agricultural activities. And also some of the works are regular works are available in the rural area, and the casual workers are also there in the casual agricultural workers, that is a coolies or laborers are there for in the agriculture and the non-agricultural. But in the case of the urban area, there are four important engagement. That is self-employment, regular wages and salary and casual. These are all the things which is witnessed in the urban area. Now the next slide is explain about the distribution of the workers. So the distribution, how we are classifying the classify the workers in broadly two category, namely one is self-employed workers. That means of this own account workers. If I have a land, that is my self-employed. I am doing cultivation, that is called self-employment. If I have a factory, I am doing, that is self-employment. If I am a small petty shop, I am a self-employed. So these are all the self-employment. On the other hand, the second one is wage earners. The wage earners further divided into two categories, namely regular or salaried group. So they are going regular work. And another one is the casual. These two categories comes under the wage earner. If we take the casual laborers, the casual laborers are mostly poor households and they are all getting irregular works and low level of education. They are all socially disadvantaged group and more vulnerable group and little job opportunity. They don't have any rights to claim up the security of the job or no right to claim or no protection. And in the case of the regular salaried group, they will get the salary periodically. They have all the rights of the labor rights they will enjoy. And in the case of the self-employed, most of them are unpaid family workers. Because of the most of them, the family workers are joined to the self-employment and they own account holders, and based on the workers, the income is fluctuated for the self-employed person. So this is the thing. If you see that self-employment is very high in the rural area, and the casual labor is also high in the rural area. That means self-employment is high in the rural area means most of them are agricultural cultivators. And in the case of the urban, the central one, that is 48.7%, it reveals that the urban regular workers, regular or wage salary. So in the case of the urban, most of them are regular or wages. In the case of the urban rural, most of them are self-employed and as well as the casual workers. But little things also there in the urban area, it is also there. See the next one is the average number of workers and income pertaining to the these three category. See that number of days working is very high in the self-employed category, followed by the regular wages, salary, and the casual labor. See, the self-employment average income is lesser than the regular wages income. This is average income, both in the urban and the rural area, is given here. But it is the self-employed income is it is almost double the amount of the rural of in urban area. So it is very high. See that of the casual labors, I calculated here 8,000 rupees and 10,000 rupees rural and urban respectively. It is based on 30 days work. But actually, they get one employment per week only 5.5 days. That means of about of 20 days only they got the employment per month. In such a case that the income of the rural casual laborers is oddly the earn 4,000 rupees per month. In the case of urban, about 7,000 rupees per month. It's very difficult to survive. That's where the last column, the poor and vulnerable group, they suffered a lot. That is 90% of the casual laborers are most vulnerable while compared with the rest of the two categories. This is the workers wise the wages salary. See, within the bracket is given all the three categories. So all the three categories within bracket is the share of that category workers. The outside of the bracket is the wage, how much of this their earning is shared, the total earning is shared among the people. So see here, the regular wages are more advantaged group because their share is only 24%, but they earned about 38%. In the case of the casual laborers, they are most affected. Their share is 24%, but they earn only 13%, around 13%. But the self-employment is almost of a similar. If you go to detailed analysis, the female casual workers earned very meager, that too 2.2%. So the very poor earning members among the casual laborers is the female. So that is the major issue at present context. And next one is this is the distribution of workers among that. So the further divide, I told that self-employment can be divided into two parts: self-employed in agriculture, self-employment in the non-agricultural sector. So this altogether 51.4% of the total. So that is the bracket. It is a million. How many people are there in that? In the case of this is the regular, it received a wage and salary group. This one. And if you see that this next one, the casual laborers of non-agricultural, and this altogether 115 million people are engaged in the casual labors. There are their distribution is there. Their distribution is very meager while compared with the self-employed. So here, the most important thing, whether these laborers have any securities are there, whether the job security or social security or leave salary or anything is available for them. It is a data 2018-19 clearly reveals about there is a periodical labor force statistical data is clearly this government of India published 2020 recently. There is no job contract. If you take that regular workers, 50% of the regular workers, there is no job contract is there. Now, no social security is there. No social security. Whether if you want to, they can anytime they can dismiss from that job. If you take that self-employed person, 60% of them, there is no social security. If you take that casual laborers, 92.5%, there is no contract or the social security. In the case of the contract, if you take that is a display here. In the case of the contract, there is no contract. That is the highest number. 92.5% of the casual workers, they don't have the contract. The contract workers itself, this is subcontract and other thing, no. So 66% are there. Sorry, 68%. In the case of wage and salary, 6. So it is very clear that a majority of the people in India, without of any social social security or social contract or leave salary and other thing availed in India. That is the thing I want to stress here. So based on that term, this has to be constructed in different states in India across the state. See here, the worst affected are the without. This is the without of any contract or leave or social security. This is the three important entitlement for the workers according to the 2018-19. So it's very clear that Punjab is the very highest number of persons. About of the 62%, they don't have any this kind of securities are there. But if you take in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, it was somewhat better than the other states. All the states in the southern states, except Andhra Pradesh, other states are providing a better facilitate to their laborers or the workers. So based on that, I drive some conclusion based on this one. See here, no job contract, written contract between the employers and employee. The top three states only I took for this analysis: Gujarat, Karnataka, and Punjab, which is highest number of persons or the workers there. They don't have any contract and not eligible for paid leave. That means of some maternity leave or some EL or something is not. So that has to very less. That is not covered in Punjab and Gujarat. Similarly, no social security benefits like as pension scheme, and that's our social security scheme. So that is also very high in Punjab, Andhra Pradesh. Altogether, these three things, which is very high in Punjab. Already I mentioned that one, about 62%. So here, if you notice all this, on the right-hand side in the state, Punjab is dominant in all the categories. So the Punjab is the highest number. In all India level, only 39.2% of the people. This is pertaining to the regular wages salary, not related with the casual workers or other workers. Only for the regular wages we are taken into the account in this one. Next one is there are number of labor laws are there. If you take at all India level, 42 central labor laws are there are available. And if you take this is wrongly I printed here, 200 state law, not 2000, 200 state laws are there. So beautiful laws are there, industrial disputes acts are there, and minimum wages, and the Contract Labor Act, and many things are there, but it is not support at a great extent to the laborers. So the very big to implementing of this law, particularly the 2019, there is a parliament, they passed a labor code, wage code, based on some 13 laws. They formulated the wage code that is passed. We are going to implement very soon. And but what happened that this pandemic reason, based on the pandemic reason, 11 states they relaxed some labor laws, particularly UP, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh. These are all the states. Some relaxation. For what purpose? The relaxation increasing the working hours, 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours, increasing the number of times working. That is a number of various time working hours. That also they increase that. Then reducing the EPF 10 to 8%, like that. There. So this is the thing which has been not seriously implemented. That so that is a main drawback for the labor side. And here another thing, this is the structure of the employment. So we discussed about at some extent, but we are particularly if you go there, that agriculture is a predominant sector in India. If you see that agricultural, the participation of the employment as declining. See 2004-5 to 2018-17-18, it has reduced about the 64 million people are left their agricultural work and the switch over to the other jobs in absolute term. If you take in percentage term, 14% has come down. So where these people are went there because of many reasons, because it is they're not profitable. Agriculture is not profitable, and there is a land is subdivided further and further. So the average per capita or average land holding is coming down, and the people depends on agriculture is very high. So it's very difficult to survival with the agriculture. Therefore, they quit the agriculture work and shifted to the mainly for the non-manufacturing and the service sector. But in the case of the manufacturing sector, it is almost constant, not major changes witnessed in that one. But in the case of the non-manufacturing, that means of that includes the construction work. So the construction, those people who are unable to get the employment in the agricultural, automatically they migrated to the urban area. They got the immediate access is the construction work. So as a result, the construction is gaining about 30 million between this period. 30 million people are enter into the non-manufacturing sector, that is the construction. In terms of percentage, that is 6 percentage point. In the case of the service sector, so service sector is gaining more than that. 37 million people are added between these two periods. But in the case of the unemployment is tripled, increased. Over the period of time, unemployment is increased. There are several reasons why that unemployment is increased. Employment generation is not much favor for growing population, not mismatching between the people are seeking employment and generating of employment. That is a problem. So the labor force we already discussed at a greater extent. There is no need to spend more time on that one. Next one is, this is the formal and informal sector. The formal means whatever I told now, that is some contract or social security. This is called a formal. That informal, without of these things, there is no account anything. You are not submitting any account to the government. There is no payroll. So these are all the informal sector. But see that informal sector is very high. Particularly the Asian countries is very high. At the global level, it is almost of the 50%. See that of India, informal sector contribution to the economy, about 50% of the GDP from the informal sector. So the informal sector, see here, the informal sector is very high in terms of percentage point. It is a 2004-5 to 2017-18. It is almost constant. But there is some advantage for the formal sector, which has been little gain over the period of time, that has improved at a greater extent for the formal sector because of the government measures, took several measures. So some of the sectors are formal one. Next is, this is the occupational wise workers, occupational senior official managers, professionals. So that is professional means our teaching and other works also comes under the professional science and engineering, and these are all professional workers, and technical assistants means the assist to the this one, and clerical and so on. See, one thing you notice here, the skilled agricultural fisheries is the male is lesser than the female. That means of the more number of females are working in agriculture while compared with the male. So the male is lesser, but the female is higher. But in the case of the elementary occupation, that means of a service, sales, elementary occupation, agricultural, fishing, that is almost both are equally distributed. So this is the different one. Some of the physical works, more physical work, the male is dominated. For example, the machine operators, assemblers, the female is very less, just 1%, whereas the male is 7%. Like as some of the thing which is service sector, see, that is physical work is more. So therefore, the male is dominated high rather compared to the female. Next one is, this is the social groups. So we know that of a social group at all India level, we are classified into four broad category, namely ST, SC, OBCs, and others. Here, this is the share of the work. Share, how much of the share is there. Before that, I want to tell something about labor force participation. How many of the labor? For example, if there is 100 STs are there, how many of them is enter into the labor force? For example, STs, 42.5% of the STs are in the labor force, followed by SCs about 38%, or OBCs 34%, followed by others 36%. So this is the category. So this category, this SC, ST, and OBCs are dominating in the rural areas. And see here, their social group wise distribution of employment. If take 100 employment, and how that has distributed different social groups. For example, the first one, if you take that 2004-5, that is the distribution. ST share is 8.4. That has to be little advantage in 2018-19, about 0.6% point increase there. So the STs getting of a meager benefit. But if you take that OBCs, the SE is almost constant. There is no much variations in that. If there is a 2011-12, there is a slight low, but it is almost about of the 19%. But in the case of the OBCs, somewhat getting advantage. That is 3 percentage point getting advantaged by the OBCs. But others are come down. Others means other than the SC, ST, OBCs, they all come down from 30 point to and 27 point. And the most important thing I want to note here that is unemployment among these social group is very low in the ST. That means there are work, whatever you do the work, they are ready to work. That's why that work participation is very high among the STs rather than the other groups. Next one is, this is employment and the growth rate. That means of the GDP growth rate. If you evaluate a country with the help of the gross domestic product, so what is the growth rate of GDP and what is the growth rate of employment? See here, that is 1972, 77 to 1976, 1986, 93. It is almost constant. There is no much variations in GDP, or even though there is variations is there, but not large variations. But you notice that 1993-99, due to implementing the new economic policy, the generation, most of them have left their jobs, and because of the this is called the transmission of the employment. So as a result of employment, generations has come down because of the new policies and the new technical aspects have come down. So traditional people who are working there left their jobs. So employment generation, which was very challenging in the 1993-99 between this period. But what happened in the 2004, 1999-2000, there is a technological changes. We are many technological which was implementing in the 2000s. As a result of that, employment generation which has come down, because the elected people or the highly educated people get the employment opportunity, so they are all getting more privileged group than the other groups, because the majority of them are informal workers, but they get the very less advantage than the people who are educated. So that is the problem that the employment generation gets. But after the 2004-5-9, there was slightly improved in the employment generation, because one important thing is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Program, which was implemented in 2005. So that was seriously implemented. As a result, if you notice that 2009 and 2011, the employment generation which has increased, that is growth rate is higher, and then and 2011-12 again it has come down because of the global financial crisis. We already discussed about that. Next one is the regional wise. If we see here, this is the region. India is divided into different based on different region. Calculated that one. Jane Jose Thomas, IIT Delhi. So based on that one, the southern part of India getting more advantage. The population wise very less share, just 15.5. But outside of the agriculture work is also very high, that is 21 point, other than agriculture work, that means. Then higher wages level also very low. The worst region is northeastern region, that is very worst performance. North less developed region, north more developed region. These are all the regions, population wise very high, but the high wage job is very less in this one. So the southern region and then central east region getting more advantage for non-agricultural workers, and also the employment more. These states are, the education is very high. That is one of the costs for the getting of more employment, more job wage group. Next, we move to that unemployment. Now, the issue is the unemployment is the major issue in the present context because of the due to COVID pandemic. So here, over the period of time, that is rural male and rural female unemployment is high. The first one, no, that first one, that is the urban female unemployment. Urban female unemployment is very high. They are not ready to go for the work. So the unemployment is very high. The employment generation for them is also very high. So that is the urban female. That is about a 5 to 15% range. And in the case of the urban male, it is about a 5%. The next one, that is a green color, light green color. But in the case of the rural female and rural male, it is almost remaining constant, about of a 0.5 to about of a 2.4%. But only thing, after 2011-12, there is a wide gap between the male and female in the rural area. That means of the more unemployment in the case of the male than the female in the rural area, because the females are getting the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program more works. That is, for example, if you take Tamil Nadu, about 80% of the women are engaged in the Mahatma Gandhi. So therefore, the unemployment is very less for the female, whereas unemployment is very high in the male in the rural area. This is the same thing. What I plotted the chart, that same thing is reflected here. And this is the unemployment in terms of the million, in terms of how much of the millions are. So here, that 1993 is the transmission period. As I already told, slightly there is an advantage to increasing the employment opportunity in 2000 up to 2000, but 2000, 2004, 5 and so on. But there is after 2004, 5, there is a disadvantage that has reduced at marginally that employment. But the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act was implemented. There onwards a little benefits for the employment opportunity as a result increase. But one thing, if you notice here, that is 2011-12 and 2017-18, that unemployment has increased at a dramatic level. That is 18 million unemployment was added between these two periods. The main thing, the new employment opportunity, the new forces are entering into the employment. That is the thing. Because I told already, a dividend, that is a demographic dividend. So the young group of enter into the employment. That's why that unemployment is very high. And the employment generation is also very low. That is another important. So already we discussed about in the early map. Educational wise, unemployment, how this educational wise vary. So here already we discussed at some extent about this one. Diploma certificate holders, graduates and postgraduates. So the higher level of education is unemployment is very high, because they're all watching to get the good opportunity, good employment job, and therefore that unemployment is very high in that one. Under the production or one side, the supply of the graduates is very high. It's very difficult to match that providing of employment opportunity. Hence, the result, as a result, that the unemployment is very high in the case of the graduates and others. But if you see that other is very less, that is very low in the case of the illiterate. They can give whatever the job you give, they come forward to take. But other people is very difficult to go there. Their mindset is such things. The next one is, this is a youth employment is the most important, the most vulnerable group in the present context. That means pandemic is affected the youth unemployment. So almost of the 33% of the youths are suffered due to the pandemic at the present context. So this is the year which has been comparing of the 2011-12 and 2017-18. So see here, the graduate, similar to the graduate unemployment is very high. Graduates and technical knowledge, technical degrees and vocational education, these are all the unemployment increasing very drastically. See that, compare that the blue and red. So see that what is the gap between these two things, which is very high in the case of the technical degree. That means BE and other professional education. Unemployment is very high in India, and also in the postgraduate and the graduates. But other thing is very less well compared to that one. Next one is, this is the unemployment rate in India. So this is the unemployment rate. Some of the states, 8 states unemployment rate is very high, including Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Telangana, Orissa, and northeastern states. Some other states are not much. But Tamil Nadu and this western belt of India, or most of them are manufacturing state, like Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. These are all the some manufacturing state. Even though Tamil Nadu is the manufacturing state, that unemployment is very high due to some reasons behind it. But the many part of the states in India is below the majority of the major states are below the all India level. That is the 5.8% of the unemployment rate in those states. That is of 2018-19 reference year. So this is the regional wise workers, the urban and the rural, how much of the population due to the pandemic. So here the lockdown 1.0 and 2.0 only taken into the account. If you see that the urban and rural, the urban unemployment is very high, 42.0%, and rural is only 16.9%. Where the lockdown 2, it has drastically come down about 6 percentage point in the urban area, whereas the rural area, it is half of them are declining because of there is some relaxation in the lockdown. As a result, slowly they pick up the employment opportunity. As a result of the unemployment has declined. So this is the employment status and the job losses. So each category, see here, own account, that is a self-employment. A box in the upper of the column now, that is a total, the million of people, how many million of people are there in particular column, in the respective columns. So the highest one is the largely affected is a regular salaried employed. They are largely affected due to the pandemic. So see that 43%, now it has come down to in the second, that means a lockdown 2, now the 6.0 is running, but now it is almost normal in many parts. But the two things, one account is affected higher, and the regular salary wages people are affected, and the casual labors are somewhat better, but it has significantly reduced the unemployment problem in two period. This is occupational wise. This legislator, nothing but the managers and other one. So here, the important thing you notice here, the service sector, which has been service workers, which has been seriously affected due to pandemic. And in the case of craft and other workers, they are very difficult to survival during this pandemic, because it has actually, it is during the lockdown too, it has increased. Still, they are struggling. They are mostly this higher level of a column, which refers to the most of them are informal workers. They maybe get a chance or not. That we are not sure about it. But this legislator, professional and technical, they got the employment, that is assured one. But these people are unassured one. One thing you notice here, the skilled agricultural is affected very meagerly, that is 0.4. That is only the sector which is the advantage due to the pandemic. So here, the wage losses of the two category as discussed here. One is a regular wage and salary and the casual worker. See here that one of the important thing is observed here. Quartile means 25, 30, 25, 50, and 75. That the upper quartile is 100. Okay, so 75 to 100. So that is the quartile. So the higher the quartile, lower the job loss. See that regular wages, higher the quartile. So quarter 1, quarter 3. So that means of the job losses is reduced. Similarly, the income losses also reduced at a greater extent in the case of the regular. In the case of the casual workers, why it has been that means of the higher the level of the quarter, the higher the level of income loss. So that is it is interchange these two things. And next one is which state is affected at a greater extent. This Uttar Pradesh is lost. This small dot or blue dot, no, that blue dot refers to the income losses. This column dot, which column number, which refers to the million, how many million people are suffered. One thing you noticed here, labor intensive state like Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, these are all the states affected higher. Similarly, the manufacturing state like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and some extent of the Kerala, it is not a manufacturing state, but the Kerala demand for the labor is very high in the Kerala, so that also includes. So these states, job losses are very high, while rest of the states in India. This is the unemployment between the 2016 to recently 20th July, as per the CMI report I plotted here. February 16 to March 20, it is almost 6 to 8% of the unemployment rate. Here, the data reveals about the data I gave here in number that refers to the urban area alone, but a rural area that the curve is there. Okay, so if you see that the urban unemployment is very high, particularly the between the March and June, March and May, the unemployment is very high. 8.75 to almost of the 24% of the unemployment was jumped during this period due to lockdown. But after the lockdown, the ease of the lockdown, and there are various several measures state and central government took in order to increase the employment opportunity. As a result, the unemployment as a declining, and June 2020, it is about of 11% of unemployment. Whereas in the 20th July, recently, that unemployment is further declined. It is almost a normal position. But the thing is that CMI report is not authenticated. It is a private one. So it is telephonic measures, survey they conducted. Based on that, every day they publish the unemployment report. But the government authenticated only we will take into the account. Anyway, for the reference at the present, how the situation is there, for that one, we are comparing that one. So, but see, the blue line, the red line is higher than the blue line, because the red line is the urban unemployment. So urban unemployment, it is very clear that unemployment is high in the urban area. Some of the sector, due to the pandemic, how this was affected. At the time of April, about 122 million people are lost their job, in which that the small traders and the laborers are seriously affected, and 91.3 million employment were lost, followed by entrepreneur, that is business and the salary group. But the only thing is the advantage is the agriculture, that is farmers, because the migrant people are they back to their pavilion, back to their hometown, and they engaged in the agricultural activity. Most of them, because of the migrant workers, are landless or agricultural laborers. When they return back, and they will engage. So that is the result. The farmers or agriculture sector, which has been gained while the pandemic was lockdown was announced. But after that, in June 2020, that was added 91 million employment. That is greater advantage is the small traders and laborers. Somewhat it is picked up, but not fully, but somewhat it is picked up. Whereas only thing is which is seriously affected, the salaried group, which is not still is revived. So hardly 3.9 million employment is added only in the June. So this is the problem. Whereas a good advantage is the agriculture sector. The people return to their home, and many people, unemployed persons, are they ready to come for or are already working in the agricultural activities. So the farming sector is picked up. Sorry, sir. So this is the recovery of unemployment, how this employment generated. So this has been divided into three parts. namely of 1st January to March, that is almost constant. The upper line is referred to rural and lower is the urban. So employment generation, this is the employment generation. So urban employment generation is lesser than the rural employment generation, but between these two periods is almost constant, whereas March to May, it is seriously affected because drastically employment generation has come down. And after that, after the May, that has to be revived, and due to government measures and relief packages, and the government a lot of easy of lockdown, as a result of employment generation slowly picked up. But this is not enough to meet out the demand what is in the labor market. So this is based on the 4-month average. I took that March, April, May, June, all the 4 months, how that employment was, unemployed was there. Based on that, I constructed this diagram. See here that red line is the national average, that is 16.7 altogether of this 4-month average. So here the most important thing, Haryana, see that is the most industrialized state in India. It is adjoining to the capital city. When the lockdown was announced, they are seriously affected. Most of them are left their job. Is already there are a lot of problems there, but this has to be added, and more unemployment is there. But see the Jharkhand, Bihar, and these are all the states which are seriously affected due to the unemployment, because this is the migrant states. The most of the people are back to their home, and as a result of that, there is a quantum jump in the unemployment problem in that. And Tamil Nadu is also very high the unemployment problem, because we are stringently following the lockdown. As a result, not allowing a person to go for work. This is the one of the thing. And Tamil Nadu is also one of the leading manufacturing state. That as a result of the more unemployment rate is witnessed here. And this is the based on that same 4 months. 4 months we have plotted here the different colors. If you take that yellow color, the first column, the March, here, that is during the March, 21 states I taken into the account for the analysis. 13 states are yellow color. That means of the less than 10% of unemployment is witnessed in this state. In the case of the April, except the 5 states, and most of them states are more than 10%. Therefore, that there is a blue, red, and green colors are there. But May, it was seriously affected, and most of the states are more than 20%. But it has been almost of a return normal in the June, and again that of a yellow color is dominated. That means of the less than 10% of unemployment is witnessed. But a few states like Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, and these are all states, red is dominated, because that still it is a more unemployment while compared with the rest of the states. What is the impact of the lockdown? So this lockdown, hello madam, hello, hello.
Yes, sir. We are available, sir.
Hello, is audible, madam?
Yeah, it's audible, sir. It's clear.
Yes. That's no reaction. That's why I'm asking. Okay, madam. Continue. I will continue.
People have asked, sir. More than 20 plus questions are there.
Yeah. I will 10 minutes. I will complete. Okay.
Okay, sir.
10 minutes. Okay. See that this is the impact of the lockdown on the labor market. See here, after the lockdown, that is unemployment was increasing drastically. They pushed that more people into the unemployment, particularly in the urban area. 12 crore people are newly added in the poverty due to lockdown. Poverty. In the case of the urban, it has been 28 crore people are newly added. So this is additional poverty which has been burdened. The government is going to bear to this unemployment. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Program, which is a beautiful program. The government is increasing the wage rate across the country recently. That now demand for the Manrega employment is 90 million people are now demanded. Already 100 days are employed is already provided that one. And the majority of the people are seeking more employment. This is the only the helpful scheme for the rural migrant workers. In the case of the urban, the problem is the major challenges are people are migrate back to migrate. Now they are all expecting of reserve migration. Recently in Tamil Nadu also people are brought, and Punjab, Haryana, the people are bring from the some of the state of UP and Bihar. So that is the urban thing which has been there. Industrial productions are degraded of many, that is a primary and intermediate goods are positive, but after a lockdown, that is a major challenge for that one. In the case of the private consumption has declining at the time of 95% at the first time. Second lockdown, it has come to 36%. So there is an uncertainty in investment. It is very difficult to whether we are going to invest or not. That is a major challenge. And that trade is the lowest because the importing of oil, the demand for the oil less, but importing, as a result, import is come down. As a result, there is a deficit also declining at a significant level because supply chain is affected. The agriculture is food grain, which is more helpful at a present context because it's a favorable condition of MSP and distribution and return migration and rises of the rural income and showing area has also increased due to spread of the rainfall. That is also one of the advantage. And the growth of thing is that the agriculture, the industrial, the overall growth. See that this is the overall growth. Whether in the economic point of view, there is a lot of discussion about whether the economy is revived V shape or U shape or W shape. This is a V shape. Probably we are increasing that. Recently, Niti Aayog chairman is explained that one quarter, that is of 2020, 2022, Indian economy probably will be 6% growth rate. But now it is in the negative side. But the quarter 4, that is 3-4 quarters are there. 2020, probably we are expecting the positive side because of the government stimulus, number of the program of the demand side increases. And this is them in terms of employment. Madam?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hello.
sir. Yes, sir.
How minutes I am taking, or shall I cut down?
Yes, sir. It's 12:07, sir. Now it's 12:07.
12:07. Shall I cut down? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Within few minutes I will.
Yeah, a few minutes you can take and you can conclude it, and then I'll ask you the question.
So this is the unemployment in India. See that unemployment is in Tamil Nadu. It's very because Tamil Nadu is one of the leading manufacturing state. It has unemployment is very high due to government measures. The unemployment has declined. See the labor force participation. The two things is there. One is the labor force participation, and another one is the unemployment in India in all states. So in Tamil Nadu, if you take that very high unemployment and lower level of labor participation because there are more educated people are there. So see some of the industries in Tamil Nadu, the firecracker industries were suffered at a greater extent, and leather industries, there is no demand in the leather in the foreign market, and silk industries in Kancheepuram, it was seriously affected due to lockdown, and ready-made garment industries in Tirupur, which was suffered at a greater extent, and automobile industries, now only the small pickup at second shift and other things are there. So, and Namakkal body works, and these are all some of the industrial estate are mostly only 25% are working at present contest. The government measures are that, you know, that for Pradhana Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, helpful for the farmers, and 42 million crore people are enjoying the benefit. And Manreka, I already explained that one. And 116 districts are identified and providing the employment opportunity. And similar to that, various measures our government is taken. This is some of the suggestions. The government should be spend more on infrastructural activities, both social and physical. That will be helpful because this is already present during the Great Depression by propounded by Dr. J.M. Keynes, and rebuild the rural economy. This is a good opportunity for that one. MSME should increase. Similar to the NREGA, the unemployment should solve with the help of the employment guarantee program in the urban area also. So the increasing the technological development is also very helpful. And a return to migrants should be ensure that one. Otherwise, it's very difficult to manage in the social security scheme and so on. So this is my conclusion that the lockdown is seriously affected Indian economy. Particularly the casual laborers is very high, seriously vulnerable group, and inequalities are higher after that lockdown. That then there are, but at the same time there is a potential opportunity for the labor supplying state like UP, Bihar. The huge number of employees are available, but Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, these are all struggling a lot. So the government should focus more on agriculture and manufacturing. Thank you for the management providing a great opportunity for me, and the organizing secretary and Madam providing a wonderful opportunity to discuss my view in this seminar. Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. A lot
Thank
of people have given positive comments and a lot of questions, like 30 plus questions are there. But I would like to ask a few questions. We would like to thank your profound talk on employment, impact of COVID-19 and Tamil Nadu economy, especially clearly said like 16.7% of unemployment in this from March, April, May, and June. And you have given a very positive thought that there will be 6% of growth in economy by the year 2022. The first question, like Subhashini ma'am has asked, any suggestion to overcome the economic crisis?
Yes, madam. Now the government is easy of lockdown, and across the state, even the central government is allowing the state government, you can do whatever possible program to revive the economy. Only thing is the investment. Government investment is a audible, madam. Government investment is required. Whatever the last previous crisis, most of the economists are suggested to increase the investment, that to public investment. Now the public investment only helpful for that. So private investment also we should encourage more. So the investment is required, particularly the people who are suffering the low pyramid of the labor. Thank you.
Okay. The second question is asked by Dr. Kumar. How do we create employment avenues during this pandemic conditions?
So that is the difficult for us because of a serious lockdown. None of the countries are such a kind of a stringent lockdown is following, but India is the stringently following the lockdown. But some relaxations are there now. The some demand-oriented stimulus package should be start. That is already government of India is started several program in order to drive the economy, or the providing the generating the employment opportunity. As a result, it's very clearly witnessed that the unemployment has declined. Yes, ma'am. Next.
Okay. Next question. What are the job avenues for teachers in post COVID-19? Like many questions, like தனியார் ஆசிரியர் நிலை மாறுமா COVID-19 கடினமான சூழ்நிலையில் மிகவும் நெருக்கடியாக இருக்கிறது. So what are the opportunities for schools, for private and public schools, and what would be the employment for teachers that for both in schools and colleges? நிறைய பேர் அந்த questions கேட்டிருக்காங்க sir.
Okay. So thing is now there is a completely closed the schools and colleges and other things are there. Though seriously affected, like as the casual laborers, the teachers also seriously affected due to that one. So the government should open the this colleges or schools. That is the first thing, and probably the shift 1, shift 2, like that of the government should be take some measures, because distance maintaining and other things are also there. So there is a separate sessions for then only the distance maintenance, other things. Then it probably 1 or 2 months this will be solved. We are expecting that one. It's very difficult to answer this question, madam. Thank you.
Okay,
yes, madam.
Sir. The final question is, what would be the job prospects of hotel management employees for post COVID-19?
Yes, madam. It is a lot of opportunity in the future also, because it is the government is one of the relaxation is given for this hotel industries. The hotel industries probably it will be. I hope that it will be pick up in the future, because this migrant is one of the important thing is that if they return back to their places, home workplaces, that probably they will get more opportunity. I think that these industries will be pick up at a serious level. Yes.
Okay, sir. So how much time it will take to regain the economy back to original?
Yes, the government is clearly mentioned that one. The quarter 2021, probably in one more year. Year, the positive side will come.
And still more questions are coming. Will globalization help us to overcome pandemic?
Oh, it's very difficult, madam, at present context, because the supply chain is almost cut down, and the normal situation is not the new normal. Now there are speaking about the new normal, it will take another 1 or 2 years. 2022 probably may be there, but at present is very difficult.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for the splendid session.
Yes.
Participants, the feedback link is posted in the chat box, and the feedback link will be alive till 2 o'clock. By the end of the day, you'll be getting a e-certificates. Now, over to Bobby ma'am for the vote of thanks.
Ma'am, can I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. A warm and graceful afternoon to all. It's now my pleasant duty to propose a vote of thanks this wonderful gathering. Gratitude is the most beautiful way to express all that's in your heart with two words. Thank you. First of all, I extend my most sincere thanks to the Almighty for making today's webinar a resounding success. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Founder and Chairman, Mr. P.M.V. Duraiser, Om Shanti Groups of Institution for his tremendous and continuous support to conduct this webinar fabulously. Next, my most sincere thanks to our Secretary, Mr. D.M.V. Santosh sir, for his rock solid support and encouragement. Yes, now it's my immense pleasure to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our resource person, Dr. P. Anbalagan sir, Associate Professor, Department of Economics, Presidency College, Chennai, who spared his precious time among us and shared impact of COVID-19 on employment condition in India. Sir, your session was really outstanding and it would be very interesting and beneficial among us. Thank you for your excellent presentation. I am really thankful to you, sir. Today, we had an opportunity to listen your speech. It's highly informative and it will surely help us lots in our future endeavor. Now, I would like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. V.H. Sasikala ma'am, Home College of Education, for her involvement and willingness for successful completion of today's webinar. Ma'am, you are brave, kind, and so grateful. I really appreciate all your help in organizing this excellent webinar. I extend my sincere gratitude goes to Om Shanti College of Education Principal Dr. D. Kumar sir for his valuable support and encouragement. I extend my deep gratitude to our teaching and non-teaching staff coordinators for the enormous cooperation. Next, we have been we, we have been fortunate enough to be backed by a wonderful technical support provided by Mr. and Mrs. Robin. Thank you for your valuable support. Yes, last but not least, my special gratitude to all the participants who made this session a grand success. Once again, I thank you to all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the good word of thanks. And today's session has been watched over by 1,541 participants around the world. So it's a great time indeed. And this kind of program was made successful by the grace of God. And a special thanks to founder and chairman, Thiru P.M.V. Duraiser, and a very, very special thanks to Dr. Anbalagan sir. You have made an entire wide spectrum of research and brought out all the economics things and how the employment, how it will be there. And you have given us a positive note that the employments will increase in the future coming years. And we would like to thank our principal, Dr. V. Sasikala ma'am and Bobby ma'am and Dr. Kumar sir for all their valuable support. Participants, kindly post your feedback in the feedback link posted in the live chat. The feedback link will be open till 2 p.m. today. And tomorrow, again, we will meet you. By the end of the day, you will get your e-certificates. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you all.